Hi guys, today I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about OLL or orientation of the last layer. In my video on F2L, I said that third step is OLL, which stands for orientation of the last layer, in which you orient all the colors to be the same of the last layer. This is what I said, but what I didn't tell you was that there are two types of OLL. The first one is one look OLL or advanced OLL, in which you do one algorithm after inserting the last F12 pair to orient the last layer, and you need to learn 57 algorithms for it, which is too much. The second type of OLL is two look OLL, in which you first solve the cross using one of the algorithms you learned in the beginners method, and then you do one alg to orient the last layer. This requires just 7 algs and the 3 algs to solve the cross which you learnt in the beginners method. This video is going to be all about 2 look OLL. This video will have two parts. The first one will have the easiest algorithms and the second one will have the more efficient algorithms. So let's get right into the first part. The first algorithm is to solve the cross when there is a line here. So you have to keep the line horizontal. Here you can see the algorithm, and if you don't know how to read the algorithms, you can just see what my hands do. So front clockwise, R U R prime U prime, and then front anti-clockwise. This solves the cross here. The second algorithm is when you get two edges oriented which are adjacent to each other. You don't have to see any corners in solving the cross. So what you have to do is keep it so that this looks like a 9 o'clock. So this points towards 12 and this towards 9. The algorithm is front clockwise and 2 times R U R prime U prime, and then again R U R prime U prime, and then front anti-clockwise, and this solves the cross again. The third and the worst case is the dot, in which there are no edges oriented. In this you have to do front R U R prime U prime and then front prime, and then you get the 9 o'clock case, so you have to hold it so that it is like a 9 o'clock, and then do F R U R prime U prime and then again R U R prime U prime and then front prime, and this solves the cross. There are just three cases to solve the cross, and after you solve the cross, there are seven cases. So, this is the first part of the video. So, there will be the simplest algs for all of these cases. In the first case, there is one oriented corner, and there are two cases which can show up when there is one oriented corner. So, the first case is when you keep the oriented corner on the front left, you will see that there is a yellow sticker facing you. When you see this, you have to keep it so that the yellow sticker is on the right and the oriented corner is on the left, and you have to do this algorithm. This is called soon. R U R prime U R U2 R prime. The second case which you can get when there is one oriented edge is called anti-soon. This is just the mirror of the last case. So in the last case, we saw that when we keep the oriented corner on the left, we see a corner facing us on the right. This time we do not see that. So we keep the oriented corner towards the right, and now we see that there is a corner facing us on the left. So we do the mirror of the algorithm. L prime U prime L U prime L prime U2 L. Now for the cases in which there are no corners oriented. So the first case is when you have two yellow stickers facing this way and the other two are facing the other way. So what you have to do is keep any of the two stickers in the front and then do F R U R prime U prime R U R prime U prime R U R prime U prime and then F prime. The second case which can show up there when there are no corners oriented is that two corners face you on one side and on the other side there are no corners facing you. So what you have to do is hold the cube so that there are no corners facing you, and then you do a u prime move or a u move anti-clockwise. Then you will see there is a corner facing you on the right side. So you will have to do this algorithm: r u2, r2 u prime, r2 u prime, r2 u2 r, and that solves the top layer. Now the cases in which there are just two corners oriented. There are three cases for what can show up. So the first case is when you have two corners oriented which are adjacent to each other. So when you keep these two on the back, you will see that there are no corners facing you. So you'll have to do a U move, and then you will have to hold the cube this way so that one yellow corner faces you on the left side. Then you'll have to do this algorithm: r wide u, r prime u prime, r wide prime f, r, f prime. In the second case, for what can show up is that the two corners which are oriented are not adjacent to each other, but they are opposite. So in this case, you'll have to hold the cube so that one corner faces you on the front left and the other faces you on the back right. Now do this algorithm: f, r prime, f prime, r wide u, r, u prime, r wide prime. This is the last case of the first part of the video, and to recognize this, you will have to see if there are two oriented corners, and if you keep them on the back, you will see there are two yellow corners facing you. So you will have to keep those two on the left and then do this: f, r u r prime u prime, r u r prime u prime, f prime, u2, f r u r prime u prime, f prime, and that solves the top layer. This is the part 2 of the video in which there are the faster alg. So let's get right into it. The first efficient alg will be for the 9 o'clock case. This time you don't have to hold it so that it's like 9 o'clock. This time you have to hold it so that one edge is on the bottom and the other to the right side. And then do f wide r u r prime u prime and then f wide prime. And that solves the cross on the top layer. The second case is the dot. In this, what you have to do is f r u r prime u prime f prime, and then f wide r u r prime u prime f wide prime, and this solves the cross. Now for the anti-soon case, what you have to do this time is you have to keep the oriented corner on the back right and then do this algorithm: r u2 r prime u prime r u prime r prime. Now the faster alg for the case in which there are no corners oriented and the non-oriented corners are opposite. What you have to do is you have to keep them so that one set is on the left side and the other is on the right side, and you have to do this alg: r u r prime u, r u prime r prime u, r u2 r prime, and that solves the top layer. Now for the case in which there are two corners oriented, and if you keep those on the back, you don't see any yellow corners. What you have to do is hold it this way and then do a rotation so that you face the yellow center, and then do r u r prime d, r u prime r prime d prime, and that solves the top layer. Now the faster alg for the case in which there are two corners oriented, and if you keep them on the back, you see that there are two yellow corners facing you. So you have to keep the cube this way only and then do r2d, r prime u2, r d prime, r prime u2 r prime. The d prime can be done with the middle finger of the right hand also. So that's it for this video. I hope you like it, and don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe. It's free.